Chapter 7, Creating Good News and Neutral Messages. Approaches to good news and neutral messages. Okay, first, you want to look at different approaches. We're going to see how we need to address each different type of message. First of all, you have the general direct plan. You begin with the objective. Okay, so the objective reflects the business and the communication goals. So this is kind of a direct. It's not. I mean, you still keep a friendly tone, but it's just kind of direct information. Cover the remaining part of the objective. So then you give the objective, give more supporting detail, and then you end in goodwill, meaning you end pleasantly, and end with your intentions. Then you have things like your routine inquiries, people that you're inquiring about things. You need to give beginning should be directly into a routine inquiry, focus on the main objectives, answer to questions. So it just needs to be kind of direct. What are you going to be talking about? What is your main topic? Then you need to provide information and explanation, ask questions, and then end in goodwill. So just requires, if you're asking a question, you're trying to find out some more information, or someone's even been asking you a question and you're answering the question. You answer directly, but then you provide the supporting details to your answer. Then you ask questions if you need additional questions. And then again, you always end things with a goodwill. And here's an example right here. Okay. And this is one that you don't do. Okay. This one you don't do, because you see here how it has a list and has questions. This actually gives you an idea. You're going to have one of these in your assignment. And this is how you have your introduction paragraph. You ask questions. Now, even you could have a second paragraph that starts and leads into the questions as well. In this case, it didn't, but that's okay. And then when you have a list of questions, you always should make a list. If it's one question, that's okay, maybe two, but definitely if it's more than two, you should create a list. It could be a bullet list like this or a number list, depending on how it fits the message. And then always end pleasantly. If you need to end with, needing a response, you need to kindly say, your response is needed by this day. Explain why. You can give an explanation. And notice everything ends in sincerely. When you're dealing with business, sincerely is the best closing. Now, here's even a breakdown. This is an email that says directly asking the information. So this is what you're writing about, what you're requesting about right there. It's given there. And then it has some supporting information. Then it's asking the 3 questions. This is an email example. And it's using a number list, okay, and see how it's got nice spacing when it's a longer question or multiple questions like this one has that are related to each other. That offers a nice visual, easily to read as well. It just depends on your questions. Then includes a goodwill statement. Always need to end pleasantly. And now it says thank you for your help, but it still says sincerely. You see, there's that sincerely closing. That's important. And then here's another email. Provides relevant details. So there's your relevant details showing you. And then there's your opening with necessary background information right there. And then it has a pleasant closing. Okay. So this is why what you're talking about. This is additional information, and that's your closing. Now, this just has the person's signature block. It doesn't say sincerely. That's okay as well, depending on the message. Favorable responses. Identify the message. Okay, first you're going to do a favorable response. So you've got questions. People are filing a complaint, whatever it may be, then you have to reply to that. So you want to identify what the message is going to be, begin with the answer, arrange the answers, handle the negatives, considering extras, and closing. So all that when you're doing a response. Now, it could be negative, could be a positive, message. Negatives are obviously going to be harder than positives, but like the one that you have to do for an assignment, you have to deal with not giving the person the answer they want. But it's best to give them the answer that you're being honest, give them the answer that you need to give them based on your policies, but then offer them a different solution. Okay. And always that wonderful closing. So this is very similar if you can see. Okay. Now here's an indirect one. Okay. And this one's fine. And then it gives you an answer, gives you additional, and then it has that plus. Okay. And then here's their direct one. So it's definitely giving it right here directly. Okay. And it's best to be more direct than it is to be indirect. But sometimes it can, indirect can be acceptable. But again, you do not want to come across harsh. Okay. But you're just, you're attaching some files. So that's a favorable response. You're showing a friendly attitude. Then you have the negative elements, and then you're closing with goodwill. So you're kind of, if you think about it, you're taking that negative, anything negative, and you're kind of enclosing it, if you think of it that way. Order acknowledgments and other thank you messages. Okay, so this is how you would write different acknowledgments and thank you letters. Begin direct and building goodwill. Be tactful. Use strategies for other thank you messages. Okay. Now, so your thank you message, you want to make sure if you're writing it to thank you for the business. You're going to want to be very nice. You want to, the thank you message is building goodwill. So if you're thanking a person for their business, for working with them, and maybe even if they will leave your business, you're going to thank them for the opportunity that you had, because even they maybe something's changed with a client, at least you're acknowledging, you're appreciating their business. That can help for possible, conversations with other people that they may recommend your company. So you always also want to be tactful. You don't want to be overthinking, just be very courteous about it. So you do need to be careful with those messages as well. Okay, so pattern of order of acknowledgments and other thank you message. So begin thanking the reading or something specific. Continue with your thanks or further information. Use positive, tactful language to address vague or delayed orders. Okay, so definitely you want to make sure, when you have that, issue, you want to make sure you make nice language. You know, you want to make sure you point out the inconvenience it could be causing the person, things like that. Achieve a secondary goal if applicable. So if you can't meet the goal that the client shipment, you could offer a discount depending on the policy. And again, you close with goodwill. So here's an example. You're opening with a brief statement for thank you. Then you have a comment relevant to the interview, and then you have that goodwill closing. So this is like if you're going to do a thank you for an interview, so which is important to give you an idea. And this here is you're writing here, and it's showing being polite and specific acknowledges the order. So you receive the order. This is being positive. The missing information is handled tactfully. Okay. So if there's something that they were missing, helpful information as well. And if the order is delayed because it weighs more than expected, things like that. Then negative news is de-emphasize. Okay. And then you offer a solution. That's important, and always friendly. Okay. Now, external information messages. Okay. You want to set a pattern. You organize the direct order in which you establish the content and purpose for your message. So you get the same kind of thing of anything else. Okay, this is informational, but you want to directly start, what the topic's going to be. Set a tone and builds a relationship. Okay, so you're informing people about your product. You're going to set a tone to that. You want to be direct. You don't want to be cushiony, but you want to be welcoming. Provide relevant details. Definitely give those details. Order is logical and visually appealing. So maybe you're even, doing something that's more like a brochure like. Okay, so that too you'll have to, be careful. And always ending with the goodwill. So here's one here that's an example. Okay, and it's showing you here, it starts with the relevant background information. Okay, then it has a bullet point to emphasize main importance. And then it has here additional information or sources, and it always has that nice closing. Okay, so this is, stuff, for a healthcare plan. This is what the topic is here. But definitely, this is a good example of, of what you want to do for informational letter. Internal operation messages, okay, uh, casual operation messages, they're casual, quick responses to message. Okay, so you could just be sending emails back and forth on something with a fellow employee. They're moderately formal messages. They have an objective, covers important parts. Then you have formal messages, policies, directives, and procedure. They're going to be longer. So casuals are going to be short, kind of almost looks like a texting, but don't use your texting language. Then you have a little bit more formal. Then you have a very formal, and then you have a direct order. Okay. So I kind of think of that as being light, a little bit more, a little heavier, heavy. So you can think of it that way. Internal operation message pattern. So you want to be direct, choose a tone, clear and courteous, informational logical order, and goodwill. So you kind of see a pattern here. We're developing a pattern in our writing, no matter where we go. Okay, so here's an example. Orders with a direct statement, okay, provides relevant details, and has another closing. So this is just about parking. But this still is it's informational, and then it still has that process. So you want to realize that, if you see the pattern where you have that direct, you have the detail, information, or supporting, or additional information, and then you always have that closing. This should help you in writing multiple things that see that pattern so that you're able to write different types of business communication documents.